So what is it that you actually understood about yourself?
Something happened in sixth form. I think throughout a lot of secondary school, I struggled a lot with anxiety and stuff, like really, like badly. And being self-obsessed is, it's a slippery path. You know, when you start to give into the flesh and start to give into your human desires, and you know, you get swept away and start thinking you're Mr. Big Bollocks.
Yeah.
Never ends well.
We all fear something different, but this fear is what drives us. How do you define success? Hey, welcome to Raw Talks, a place where we have conversations that help you grow. And today, I've got a crazy guest for you. Listen to this. You might have seen him off TV. He's a phenomenal actor. You might know him as a bully, but he is a big influence to the younger generation. And a light-hearted person from the conversation we had anyway. Luca,
Yes.
welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
It's great. Honestly, meeting you.
Yeah.
I can't take the image out of my head. Like, I watched Corey, I binge watched it.
Yeah.
And I was like, these guys who I'm meeting and who I met is completely different.
Everyone's always so surprised.
I
That,
know,
like,
it's completely different.
off camera, I'm not, threatening people with knives and bullying school kids.
No, it's crazy.
But I guess that means I'm doing my job right.
Yeah.
If you would think that in real life that would be horrible, I get it though.
Yeah.
Because we all watch shows, and especially on a show like Corrie, where it's so consistent, you can really get attached to characters, and you can really sort of associate characters with that person, and the line between the person and the actor and the character can get a bit blurry. But I guess that means I'm doing my job right, so I'll take that. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
That's something I'm gonna get into in a minute. But on this podcast, I have like a routine. I always ask people, how do you define success?
That's a good question. How do I define success? For me, ooh, wow. We're starting in deep, man.
I know.
It's 10 in the morning and my brain's going.
It is raw talks.
I like that. Let's start heavy. Success for me is fulfilling a purpose that you deem to be worthwhile and you deem to be your purpose that God put you on this planet to do.
Oh.
I think if you can be useful, and you can enjoy being useful, and you can be good at being useful, and you feel like you have a purpose and you feel like you're helping others, I think for me, you're carrying out, what God has put you on this planet to do. And I think for me, that's success.
Yeah. That's something I haven't heard from anybody else.
Yeah.
I think everybody else have defined it in their own way, which we all define it differently. And that's why I always ask the question, how do you define success? But you're the first person to include God into that.
Yeah.
And you said I'm starting deep. Now you made me feel even deeper.
If we're starting deep, we're going deep. If we're starting deep, we're going deep.
But now I don't know if to do this or not, but I have a few fire questions.
Hit me.
Quick fire questions.
Yeah,
it's 1 second answer.
Yeah.
And then we'll go even deeper than you think we are already. But early mornings or late nights?
Late nights.
Biggest inspiration? The seconds are over, man.
Bro,
Come on.
I'm gone.
All right, let's go.
There's too many.
Give me just one.
Give me just one. I can't.
That's
I'd
great.
I'd have to say God, but if it has to be a human, I guess.
A human. Dad?
Dad, yeah. Dad would be.
That is most people's inspiration, you know?
Do you know, you say that, and I was thinking celebrities and whatnot, but do you know what? It probably is. It is my dad. That's what's ultimately shaped my character and what I've wanted to do and who I am. So
that's great. That is great. What nickname are you given at home?
Shorty.
Shorty?
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. Why? Are you the shortest?
No, I'm not. I'm the tallest.
Is it?
But me and my dad used to watch Indiana Jones, and there's a character called Shorty.
Oh yeah.
Who's this little kid, and he sort of is Indiana Jones' sidekick. And my dad sort of said when we would watch that he reminded me of Shorty, so it just kind of stuck from then on, like Shorty.
So everybody calls you Shorty.
No, that's more in my family. Outside, I don't think people outside sort of catch on to that. Outside of it, it'll be
watch me see you next time and be like, "What's up, Shorty?"
Yeah, what's up, Shorty? That's got a different meaning to it altogether when you start saying it.
But your unique talent.
I can do this.
What the?
Yeah, I've got really stretchy skin.
Yeah.
That's my unique talent. I don't know if that's a talent, but.
And what's your go-to date idea?
Go-to date?
Yeah.
It's got to be a restaurant.
Restaurant.
Yeah, restaurant. I'm a very traditional man.
Yeah.
Take him to a nice, Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
Make sure you get the bill. Be very courteous and what have you. Keep it simple.
Most people think restaurants are more like interviews.
I like that though. I like that. I'm that one, like, I love people and the psychology of people and how people react under pressure and how I react under pressure. And I love seeing how I think you can get a really good idea of someone like over a 1 hour meal and how they speak. I love that. I love that pressure as well.
Yeah.
That it could go wrong. Yeah. I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie, so anything that's like scares me or scares the other person, for me, that really excites me.
I don't think I could do that,
What, restaurant dates?
Yeah, I'll get scared.
Bro,
We're doing something active just so the ADHD can come out.
Yeah,
I can't do that in a restaurant. Like,
I get that.
Can you imagine?
I get that, bro. I get that.
But you know what? I think we should go back to the deep side.
Yeah.
Who is Luca before Mason? Like, before you got the call to go on Corey, obviously. Who was Luca then?
He's the same guy he is now.
Yeah.
He was doing a gap year. I was doing a gap year. I'm not going to speak about myself in the third person. It sounds really... Can I swear?
Yeah.
It sounds really, really wanky when people... who is like Luca, isn't it? No. Yeah. I was doing a gap year and it got towards the end of my gap year and I came into that gap year with the idea of, pursuing acting as a career. Yeah. And I'd had auditions, got recalls, but nothing had ever stuck. Yeah. And then, fortunately, just as the gap year was ending, I got the role. So it sort of came in a really, really lucky time. Yeah. Just before, the second year of uni started for everyone else. Yeah. So, I was very grateful for that because, starting that second gap year sounds a lot worse than having that first.
At that point, you might as well quit.
Well, I was never going to quit, ever. And I knew I think for a lot of people, they like the idea of having that comfort blanket of having something to fall back on. But sometimes people advise that, but I completely dispute that. I think if you have a passion and you feel really strongly for something, you go all in, go balls deep. And I think if you have a backup plan or a plan B, you're always going to fall to that plan B. Yeah. So if I'd gone into this gap year, my parents advised it and they were like, just make sure you have something. I didn't want anything because that terror frightened me into working so hard. And, it pushed me to just be so focused and completely go for it. And, if people do have backup plans, they'll fall on them because it's a comfortable thing to do. It's a safety net.
Yeah. And this whole acting, obviously, you took a gap year. You did your work, obviously, because it happened. But is it something you've always looked for since you were younger, or?
Yeah, I think it was. I think when I was in primary school, it was something that I was big on. Like, I was always a really creative kid. Like, I always wanted to do, like, shows and stuff like that. And, there were times when, like, I've always had this weird I like not sixth sense, but like feeling towards it. And then I sort of put that on hold during secondary school because you're trying to fit in, you're trying to.
It's not. You don't want to be the weirdo.
Yeah, exactly, bro. I went to an all boys grammar school, so it was to say you wanted to be an actor at that time. They were all really nice guys, but they were all doing proper jobs. Like they're all smart kids. And then sort of towards the end of my time at the grammar school was when you start coming into your own and you start realizing who you are and you're not trying to just conform. And then that hunger for it came back up in sort of sixth form, year 11.
And what is it that made you like not conform to everybody else? Like, is it the fact that you knew you could do it, or is it just you thought, oh yeah, fuck it, I'll just do me?
That's a great question. I don't know if I have a good answer for that. I think it was probably a few things. I think firstly, I didn't want to get a proper job. Secondly, I don't know. Something happened in sixth form. I think throughout a lot of secondary school, I struggled a lot with anxiety and stuff, like really like badly. And I got help for that. And I think I started to just do things that scared me. And the more I did things that scared me, the more I felt good about myself and the more empowered I felt and the more courageous I felt. And it became addictive to push myself. And I think acting was something that terrified me. Because I was always like a bubbly kid, but to actually go out there in front of people was terrifying. So for the first 2 years or year and a bit, I was terrified every time I went up. Absolutely terrified. And that was kind of addictive. And I love human psychology. And I love the element of, pushing myself through the anxiety and feeling courageous. And I love the creativity side. So the accumulation of all all three of those things, acting became so much of a, exciting prospect. So I think that's what sort of drew me, outside of, caring about people's opinions or conforming or going the safe route. It was just such an attractive prospect that I just couldn't not.
You just touched on something, like every time somebody touches on it, I'm just like, oh, I want to know a bit more. So you're talking about your anxiety during secondary and stuff and the help you got. What did they actually teach you that helped you deal with it? Because sometimes I'm the kind of person, like, if I'm anxious or anything, I'm just like, get the fuck on with it. Do you get what I mean? Like, don't be scared. And I feel like that's a very insensitive way of like doing it. And it's like, if I was to say that to somebody who is actually anxious, they'll be like, come on.
Yeah. Well, so, I think that is good advice in a way. I think there's no right or wrong way to deal with it. Like, everyone's brain works differently. I think your question was what
did they actually teach you?
Yeah, what did they actually teach you? And I think just understanding yourself a bit better and how your brain works and what causes you to feel certain things. And I think once you understand that, it does make you feel a lot stronger. It's like knowing, the controls on an Xbox. Once you know, oh yeah, if I press A, that's the pass button in FIFA. It's the same for your brain, and you can start to recognize patterns, because that's all our brain does. It makes patterns of stuff. And once you can sort of unpick those patterns and understand why you're doing what you're doing, it gives you a lot of control. And ultimately, anxiety is your body's way or your brain's way of trying to control things. So once you have control over why you think a certain way, you can let go, if that makes sense. Once you understand, right, this is what's going on. I'm okay. I feel this anxiety, but I'm okay. And this is just my brain's way of doing this, that, the other. You let go and then you feel okay. I think just letting go and... letting go, I think that's the main thing that I took from that. But you had to understand yourself before you can let go. I don't know if I'm waffling.
I do get you.
Or if you,
No, I do get you, because with anything, really, I feel like for you to get anything you want, you gotta understand yourself, regardless. If you don't understand who you are and how you act, you're not gonna get what you want. So what is it that you actually understood about yourself that made you understand, okay, cool, this is me and this is how I deal with this? to where it got to the point that obviously when you were in the gap year, you were like, okay, cool. Now I'll actually go full on with the acting. So why is it that you actually understood about your pattern?
That's a great question, and I don't know, I can't really give you an answer to that, without getting into certain things that have happened in my life, and then how that's had a domino effect of.
Yeah.
But I think it's just recognizing patterns to keep it brief, because we could sit here for hours.
I don't mind sitting here for hours, but
it's alright. It's just I think recognizing patterns, and it's a lot of things.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm smart enough to articulate or understand really what the help I had actually is, or what it's done. But it's done something. Which ultimately has led to me now trying to let go and just let the thoughts pass by, and not trying to control everything, and then B, leaning in towards anxiety and constantly trying to make and do things that make me feel uncomfortable. So those are the effects of the help.
And then, so you've had your help now. You've got into your uni year, you've taken your gap year, you've started doing all the auditions and whatever. It comes to Corey. They give you the role. How did you feel about that?
Right, you see me smiling like a little kid. Brother, there's no feeling really like it. It's just that knowing that your life is gonna change, and you can finally do something, and it's that thousands of people want to do, and it's such a privilege to be able to do. Because I was so aware that there's so many actors that are good that just don't get that chance or get that role. It's such a privilege, and I completely was aware of this. And to just get that call, man, it's just words cannot describe that feeling, which is why I sort of said success is carrying out what you deem God has put you on this planet to do, and the purpose that you feel you're useful for. And I think that's sort of close to that feeling. But it's just
still going on right now, right?
Bro, I think it is, because obviously you get used to stuff. And I've been on the show for 9 months now. But
great run, by the way. But
you what?
It's a great run.
Yeah, we're still going.
It's a great run.
But I think to constantly practice gratitude and be grateful for it and never take it for granted is important too.
Yeah. And obviously you're acting as a bully.
It's fun.
I can imagine,
Fun.
You're acting as a bully. But I read somewhere that you was like part of the kids that run away from the bullies. There were people in your area that were bullies. Obviously can't mention their names, but how does it make you feel, kind of going back, looking at yourself running away, and now doing it to somebody else on screen or not screen? Like, I know that terrifies someone.
That's a great question.
It does hit emotion somewhere.
That's a great question. That's a really good question. You're a good interviewer. I like that.
Thank you.
It didn't happen too often, luckily. It wasn't a big thing throughout my life. I didn't get bullied consistently. But it was just now and then, you have these people that would, I think it's just part of the job. I think it's weird if you're not an actor, you won't really understand it. But when action is called, I'm not Luca anymore. And it's all, especially in the high emotion scenes, it's all a bit of a blur. And you just sort of, something happens, some weird spell happens, and then they call cut, and then you're sort of like, all right, I'm back. So I can't really put into words how that feels. But that is an excellent question. I know what you're getting at there. But it's just so far separated. I guess I can't put the two together.
Yeah, and how does it make you understand adolescence, both on screen and off screen?
I mean, it's the adolescent side of it is really important because to understand the character, you know, you have to delve into why he does this, his upbringing, and then your relationship with the other two characters.
Yeah.
And they're all kids going through, you know, that teenage phase of, you know, trying to fit in and pressures from school, and you know that is something that I really related to, that you can transfer over, and it just really hammers home in terms of growing up in adolescence, the need to conform and the need for security, because it's a very, I think for me anyway, growing up in adolescence is it's a wild time, isn't it? You feel kind of lost. It's like you're trying to find your way, and it's a bit scary. And I think, you know, a lot of what the characters have done in the show, you know, represents that.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it's landed with a lot of kids that age. So yeah.
Damn. So obviously, you being a bully, I'm gonna keep calling you a bully
keep going,
until he comes out.
You want me to
Mason comes out.
You want Mason to come out?
But like it's sort of, I would say fame, but like you do get a lot of hate on socials. Well, obviously Mason gets a lot of hate, not Luca. And both ways, you know. Some people have their own opinions, but how has that affected you personally? Has it affected you? Have you just been like, okay, it's whatever, like y'all do whatever?
Yeah, I think at the start it did bother me. Luckily, I do have to say I rarely get any nasty comments anymore. I don't know why that is. Maybe the way the storyline's gone down with the public. But at the start there was, you know, I was a new actor. I was very nervous, you know. At the start it got to me. Because it's weird, you know, having random people, you know, comment about you in ways that aren't nice is like, it's confusing. It's like, what have I done to you? You know, it's normal for, you know, someone, maybe a mutual friend or someone else, to like say something nasty about you, but a random person you don't know, it was a weird feeling, and it did, you know, it knocked my confidence for a while, but you know, now I'm just so used to it that it doesn't really bother me at all. Like, it's just, I expose myself over and over again to the comments. I just became numb to it. It does still affect me at some level, but you know, at the start maybe it was here, and now it's like, it's like,
okay, you said that, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
So it doesn't affect your acting at all? Like,
no, it doesn't.
On set?
It you know, there was a point where, you know, at the start it did, and it made me really sort of, you know, anxious and being like, I have to get this right, which is not a condition that produces good performances. But then there was sort of a point where I said to him, listen, get yourself together, and you prove them wrong. And you start doing good performances. And I think that shift in mentality was, instead of, I have to get it right to appease them, like, it was, I'm going to get it right to prove them wrong. And that was kind of a shift that helped me out a lot.
And I'm guessing your family has helped you a lot throughout that.
Oh yeah. They've been great with it, because they didn't make too much of a big deal of it. They weren't like bringing me in and having long conversations. They obviously, they discussed it and they supported me. But inevitably they just sort of said, you know, get on with it and ignore it and not give it too much attention, which was great. I think it was the best way to deal with it, because if they sat me down and they were always like, oh, you know, stay away, like constantly reaffirming it, it was just, you know, a few times they'd give me a little, pull me aside for a little chat. So I think that's something that I've learned about parenting as well. You know, when your kid's going through something difficult, don't put too much focus on it. Obviously support them, but if you make a big deal out of it, and if they made a huge deal out of it, that would have made me feel like it was a huge deal, and I would have dealt with it differently. Sorry, I'm talking a lot.
No, it's all right.
Nah, I'm talking a lot. I'm very conscious that I do waffle.
No, it's all right. Waffle. Like here, it's a safe space.
I get that,
you know.
I get
You say whatever, you take however long time.
Yeah.
You say whatever you want.
Yeah.
But like, obviously, you're talking about, was that the only challenge you faced, like having to deal with the mean comments? Because obviously you probably didn't get any before you started Corey, and then you started straight shut.
Was that the only challenge that I faced?
You faced since you've started?
No, it was probably more so my own head and the way I was thinking about it that was separate to that. Because I'm my own worst critic, so if I know something's not good, I'll know something's not good. So it was me, really.
Is that a good character to have as an actor?
I think it's a balance.
It's a balance.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's definitely good to strive for more and not be satisfied with your performances so you can improve. But, you know, it's like a bell curve.
Yeah.
If it's too much, there's a perfect sweet spot in the middle. But if it's too much, I don't know, you start to become introverted and just neurotic and in your head. And that's not good.
You're a bit of an introvert, aren't you?
I don't know if I don't. I think I'm both. I like the countryside.
Yeah.
I like.
That's introverted.
I guess it is, bro. I guess it is. But I also like people.
Yeah.
But I really like my downtime and just chilling with my family and, you know, I have a close circle of friends. You know, I don't really enjoy going out, so I guess in that way I am.
Yeah. So how does an introvert get to act on set, deal with all the different actors there, have to socialize with everybody? Because I know, like, obviously, I've done a bit of modeling myself, but like, you have to keep a good relationship with everybody on set. Otherwise, you might not get the call the next time.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So how does an introvert do that?
It's quite easy on Corey because everyone's so nice, and it you know, you get to know everyone, and it just does feel like, you know, you're hanging out with friends a lot of the time. But I think it's a version of you. We all have different versions of ourselves, and I go into that, you know, bubbly like I am now. Like it's just like. Yeah. Like we all have different versions that we turn on and off, so it's not too challenging.
Yeah.
I think I'm an introvert at heart, but
yeah,
when I want to turn it on, I can be an extrovert. I don't know. What does that even mean? I don't know.
Yeah, no. But you stopped uni, I'm guessing.
I didn't. I
didn't
never
even
started.
step in
Never
uni.
started uni. Yeah.
So, if anything, would you go to uni now? Would you not? Why not?
Why would I go to uni? To study acting?
No, not to study acting.
Oh, just
maybe something else. You said you love human psychology.
So
you could do
To be fair, that was
psychology.
something I was looking into.
Yeah?
That was something I was looking into. I don't think I would because I've found this thing now and I'm working my way through it. So I just feel like what would be the needs. I don't like nothing about it. Sort of attracts me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
So where are we going with everything? Like with the acting, where you actually trying to hit? What's your climax? What do you see your climax be?
I don't know. I like to take it step by step. Just take each day as it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I did read that. I don't know. Did I read it? I heard it actually on another podcast that you was on. That before going on Curry, you did kind of manifest it or say it a year before it happened.
Yeah.
And you told yourself, you know what, Amri, next year or something, I'm gonna be on cameras.
Yeah.
So if you could do that, what else are you seeing in the future? Or is there something you don't want to tell us?
Nah, not at all. It's not something I don't want to tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very happy and I'm very content at Corrie at the moment. And I think it's a great place to learn, a great place to be, a great environment. Like it is just such in so many different ways. It's such a great job. You know, it's secure. It's you know, it's consistent. It's powerful. It's, you know, the people there, like everything about it's amazing. But if I wasn't to be in that, you know, environment, if I wasn't to be at Corrie, I think for me, I'm very ambitious. You got to shoot for the stars. And if you miss, then maybe you hit the moon. I don't know. I don't know whatever the saying is. I think I love films.
Yeah.
To be in a film as a lead or even a strong supporting would be like amazing, like a proper feature film.
I would want to watch a film with you. Would you be a bully again, or would you be a nice person?
I'd try to switch it up.
Switch it up,
because then you
think you can play both?
I hope so. I hope so. Because you don't want to get typecast too early on. I'd like to sink my teeth into, if I was to do the film, like I'm more vulnerable and just show a different side of me. Because the stuff that I used to do before Corrie, like in class, and it was completely different. It wasn't that often that I'd get to play that abusive, horrible character. So I'd like to flex my different acting muscles.
Yeah. What's the difference between what you see on set and what you were seeing in class, for example? What is it they taught you? Like, do you think what you actually learned in class is coming to hand a lot, or is it just you use just a little bit of it?
Definitely.
Here and there.
Definitely. Acting classes helped me a lot. And I don't know in what ways they helped, but just I think maybe the main one was the confidence to get up in front of people and try different things and see what works and what doesn't. And then when you do get to set, you're not scrambling because you've got all this muscle memory of stuff that has worked in class. Classes are important. Unless you're like super talented, then you just like that's it. I just got it. But I wasn't, bro. I was awful at the start.
Yeah.
Maybe I still am awful. I don't know. Yeah.
And who is your mentor on set? Do you have a mentor on set?
I don't really. Because the majority of our storyline is with the other two kids.
Yeah.
I think Liam, who plays Dylan, at the start was basically my mentor. He showed me around. He's been there for ages. He was so supportive and made me feel at home and showed me, where the toilets were, all this sort of stuff, just to ease you in. And he was really, like, even on the screen test, he was amazing. So I'd have to go with him.
Yeah.
He's a very knowledgeable, wise.
You do not get to speak to any of the older cast?
Yeah, you do. You do. I think if I had to pick one of them, it would have been... actually, I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But you obviously interact with them, like
with them
over dinner and stuff, and over food, and in the green room.
Obviously, your dad is one person that's very proud of you. Like, I have seen a message on Twitter. Was it? Well, it's X now.
Oh yeah,
X. Just get it right. Yeah. Well, I seen a message on there, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it too. If you haven't, just go find it. It's the same name. It's literally the same name. Yeah. But he's very proud of you.
Yeah.
Very proud. What does he say to you at home?
He's the exact same. He is constantly like reinforcing how proud he is.
Yeah.
And always supporting me, as is my mum.
Yeah.
The two of them together are just amazing. They're like the backbone. Like, I couldn't really do it without those two. Just to never underestimate the importance of having good parents that back you. Like, it gives you that extra 10% that you can then put into the work.
Yeah. And they do tell you, obviously, what you're doing right and wrong.
Yeah.
How do you take that? Because I know for sure, like, well, I'm 24, but I know, like, a lot of people our age, 19 and above, like, if dad and mom tell me something about what I'm doing, I'm like, what do you know?
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like, I'm going through it, you ain't.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that?
I don't. I think, both of them have lived good lives, and one thing that I've tried to do is, you have to understand that they've lived it. Especially my dad. He's lived it, and to save yourself from making the same mistakes they made, just listen to them.
Yeah.
Listen to the lessons they've learned, and you will save yourself a lot of time and heartache.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. That is, like, it's the thing. Me and listening to my parents, like, I listen to. I don't know if my parents are different to yours, to be honest. But
they probably are. Yeah.
They might be a little bit more stricter, like just a little bit of a give you a shoulder every now and then,
Oh,
like
is it?
you know,
Yeah.
but like listening to the parents, like for example, I don't know. Yeah, your dad did do acting. Say if your mom, your sister, and stuff come and say something, and they're like, you know what, Luca, maybe there you could have turned this way, or you could have turned that way, or you know what, you should have used those words instead of this.
What, in acting?
In acting.
Oh, bro, shut up.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, shut up. Get out of here. You get up on that set.
No.
Yeah, hell no. No, I get, and with you said before the podcast, your parents are doctor and engineer.
Yeah.
Like, and then for you to go into a creative space, that's a completely different experience for me to go into creative space when my parents both do not normal jobs.
Yeah.
So like, hats off to you.
Yeah.
Because I know how hard that must be.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go on.
No, I just saying I know how hard that can be because I know how much it's helped me because of them supporting me.
Supporting you.
Yeah, and if you don't have that support, I can imagine it's like swimming against the tide.
Yeah. Have you tried any other creative sides or tried anything else apart from acting?
Not really. Like YouTube.
I
did YouTube back in the day. Like I was always making videos.
What, Mr. Beast?
Yeah.
Mr. Beast videos.
Nah. But I was always making stuff. Like from this high, I was making videos of like wrestling or skits or vlogs. And they're somewhere in the atmosphere of YouTube. But I've always been making videos. Always. Since I was this high, literally.
Yeah.
So it's always been videos for me.
So you've just always wanted to be on screen.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah, what a narcissist.
Would you say you were?
No.
No.
Not at all.
Not at all.
We touched on it before,
Yeah.
My religion and my faith, I think pride is, one of the 7 deadly sins, and I put everything up to God or my parents, or I'm always trying to be grateful, and being self-obsessed is it's a slippery path. When you start to give into the flesh and start to give into your human desires, and you get swept away and start thinking you missed the big bollocks. It never ends well.
I would say you're a very humble person. For somebody who just had something big happen in the last 9 months, like a lot of people wouldn't take that lightly, a lot of people would be stepping over everybody. Do you get what I mean?
I think maybe. I don't know. I think you never know until it happens to you. But I think how could I have an ego when, God has done so much for me. My parents have, supported me so much, and I think just knowing and understanding that how lucky you are.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't the norm. I think when you start to take it for granted and you feel like you're better than everyone else, it's just that's disgusting. And it never ends well.
Yeah. And what advice would you give to somebody trying to pursue acting or pursue any sort of dreams they might have? What advice would you give to them? Obviously, you started a bit later. Most people start at 15.
Well, I did GCSE drama and all that, and all that rubbish, but I think the practical things that you could do that really helped me was there's loads of apps. Star Now, Backstage. Get yourself doing student films. That's really important. I did quite a few student films, and then they teach you so much about being in front of cameras, and there's a lot of technique to it and continuity and all that caper. So student films isn't like very important. Get yourself an agent, put together a show reel from those student films, so you don't have to pay a penny. You work for free, but you also get the footage. And then get yourself an agent, and then just work hard at it. Just constantly watching people I try and constantly watch films and just everything from life. I think acting is an amalgamation of everything you see. All the good actors pick from people. So the stuff you're doing now that I could play a character in like a few years. And I'm picking stuff that like the way you sit or maybe the way you dress.
I lean every time.
Yeah, like no, but like it's interesting because that's what makes us human. I think to pick little things from people, and then bring that together, and you're like a chameleon sort of. And just be true to yourself, have confidence, and don't give up. Always just all the usual stuff. But you can do it. Like it literally is. If you believe that you've already achieved it, time will catch up.
And like, this is a very heavy question, but a lot of people, like, say getting an agent, agents are expensive. I'll tell you that.
Well, well, if they shouldn't be, why were they expensive in your experience?
I mean, they can't charge you a very hefty price.
That's naughty. They shouldn't be doing that. They should take a commission of the work that you do. But if they're charging you up front, that's naughty. That's a little bit naughty. So that happened in your modelling?
Yeah, it's happened before.
Listen,
I've paid like
vultures.
I went to like this place. They invited me. Oh, whatever. We want you to be a model. We can connect you with such and such and such and such. I was like, damn, lit. I was like, I think it was like 17. I just came back to the UK at the time. 17, whatever. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever, I'll pay it. They charged me $2,000. I was like,
yeah, that's a scam, bro. That's outrageous.
I called my boy who is a model, and he was like, yeah, you just been scammed. I was like, and then I called the people, they didn't answer, nothing. Got to the office, they're not there. Yeah, tough. So like, obviously, that's an experience. Like, I would say a lot of people don't know how to deal with that. A lot of people, like, when you are really like fighting to go and get something, you will meet people in the way that just try and take from you. So how do you kind of pick those out and be like, oh yeah, this person ain't great, this person ain't great? I'm guessing you might have had to deal with some of those people. So how did you deal with them?
I'm sorry to hear that, bro.
It's all right,
That's
bro.
That's a long day.
It's a long time ago.
Bro, it's a long day at the office when you're $2,000 down. I mean, fuck, that's awful.
It wasn't mine. It was my dad's. So it's all right. I'm not gonna act like it was mine. So it didn't hit my pockets as much as it did his.
I'm sure he hit you after that. He was like.
To be honest, we didn't speak for like a week. So
I'd imagine so.
So
I'd imagine so. I was very lucky with my agents because it was through a friend.
Yeah.
He recommended me, but I think just the red flags. Look for the red flags. Like, they shouldn't be charging you off the bat. How much commission are they taking? It should be 15%, 20% at the top end. And then look at who they've got on their client list. If they got actors that are doing stuff that you want to do. Or are they doing more theatre, more TV? Just do your research properly. Look at the reviews. Try and ask people around. It's a very small industry. If you ask a certain amount of people about this agency, they're gonna, at least one of them's gonna have an experience with them. So, long day, bro. I'm sorry
long
about
day at
that,
the office, bro. Like, I'm telling you, it was so expensive.
$2,000.
I was just like, why would you do me like that? I was so nice to them, bro. I was smiling and everything. I thought I got it.
Yeah.
Bro, they literally told me we can connect you with Burberry. We can, like, they told me big brands. And when they said big brands, I'm like, that's big bucks.
Bro,
So,
they sold you a dream.
Yeah, they sold me a dream, and then I lost all my peas. But so there's one thing, like, I don't know if we touched on this really. It's mainly the last question.
Yeah.
But it's something about your character. Yeah. So the character you're acting now, obviously, we've touched on it. Everybody knows it's a bully. But the character you're playing and who you are in real life is completely different.
I'd hope so.
Yeah, completely different. Very different. And I'm pretty sure the guys on camera experienced that. how do you manage to switch every single time? Like, if they say action, you switch to main scene. They say cut, you're back to you. Like, how do you do that? Like, does that not affect you in some way?
Yeah.
Like, mentally, you'll be at home, you find yourself punching the wall, like, why are you looking at me?
I think it affects me in terms of it's a bit draining.
Yeah.
Because your body, when you're acting, doesn't know. Your brain knows it's not real, but your body doesn't. And a lot of, the emotions that are stored in us are stored in the body. An adrenaline. Think about that. It's running through your body. You feel exhausted. But switching off isn't that difficult.
Yeah.
Because it's like throwing up.
Yeah.
You just vomit all this horribleness out, and then afterwards you feel fine.
Yeah.
Or you don't have the vomit or the anger inside you.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of times when you fake it.
Yeah.
And there's no real emotion, and that's just part of acting. But the times when you do genuinely feel, and probably what produces the best work, and you do feel angry, afterwards you're knackered and you feel horrible, and you're all hugging. We're all hugging. We're all boys. So it's not as difficult to turn off as you'd think.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Do you ever use real life anger, or have to refer back to real life anger to kind of get the character more emotional?
Yeah, definitely. I'm very committed to the work, and I will imagine scenarios, or I don't like to pluck from memory. I like to use more imagination with real people or real situations where I'm imagining my best friends taking, you know what I mean. But I do think when that emotion's there, it just looks so much better. Like you can just tell on screen.
Yeah, you can tell.
You can tell.
Did the boys ever tell you turn it down?
No.
Because obviously
the boys are great, man.
You are different in ages, right?
Yeah.
I think one of them is 16.
One of them's 17.
17.
One of them's 15.
Yeah.
And I'm the older 19.
Yeah. Obviously, you're older.
Yeah.
You're stronger than them.
Yeah.
So when you're manhandling one of them, do you have to kind of turn your power down a little bit? Just
for the physical scenes, because it's acting, and they can make it look more intense than it is from different angles. But they're great. They understand it. They're also so committed.
Yeah.
And I think once you have all three people in the storyline being that committed and willing to put their emotions, their body, on the line, it just produces better work. Because they know, the guy that plays Charlie, the guy who is Charlie that plays Liam, the guy that I'm bullying, he knows that if I come in with this anger, it will produce a better reaction from him. So he'll look better. And then I'll see him reacting in a way where he's terrified, which will then make me look better because that will impact me. So it's like a tango. It's like a dance. Acting's like a dance. It's a reactional thing. So they understand that.
Do you have any final words to the viewers?
I don't. Thank you so much for having me.
It's all right.
These have been...
It's great.
Azada was amazing. Amori's podcast was amazing. Some of the questions you've asked were very, very good.
I'll take that.
Listen, we spoke off camera, and you're a great guy, and I have no doubt that in 2 years you can watch this podcast back and be like, oh, okay, we got there.
I hope so. Listen. I really hope so. I think we did get it today, and if you do think we got it, make sure you like, subscribe, and share.